When we want to, when we have designed a sequential circuit, so there are some parameters that we need to understand these parameters. That what should be your clock frequency of a sequential circuit. So now there are two types of circuits. One is a combination circuit and a sequential circuit. In a combination circuit, the output is a function of the inputs only. While in a sequential circuit, the output is not only a function of the inputs, but also a function of the states. And where the state is stored? Flip-flops. The state is stored in flip-flops. So there are two types of circuits, combination circuit and sequential circuit. In a combination circuit, output is a function of inputs only, while in a sequential circuit, output is not only a function of the inputs, but also a function of the state. And that state is actually stored in flip-flop. So this is a very high-level description or overview or definition or differentiation between a combination and sequential circuit. We will later on dig into more details that how we can design these sequential circuits efficiently in Verilog. So there are some constraints. If you look at, we studied different types of sequential circuits. We studied counters. Okay. If you look at a counter at a very high level blocks, can you see here on the left hand side, when we designed some counters, so there were 8 flip-flops. The output of these flip-flops was feedback and input to the multiplexer via combination circuits. So actually, can we have at a very high level description of sequential circuit? So it means in a sequential circuit, I can draw it here. For a sequential circuit, there will be some flip-flops. These flip-flops will store the state of the system. Let's assume this state is ST. This state is ST, and this actually is the output of the flip-flop. When it's the output of the flip-flop, so actually there will be some Q here, a lot of Qs. This state will be feedback. And there will be some combinational circuit. And for this combinational circuit, there will also be some inputs XT. I'll explain this later on. XT is some inputs. And the output of this combinational circuit will be some next state that will determine the next state of the system. That will be assigned at the active edge of the clock, if you remember. So this ST plus 1, so now we will have some ST plus 1. And this ST plus 1 is input to the input of the flip-flop. And this flip-flop, the output Q, the state ST plus 1 is now dependent on ST. This ST, what is this ST? This is the previous state, and this is the next state. Or we can also call it current state. This is the current state of the system, and ST plus 1 is the next state of the system. No. It's the current state. It's the current. Now the current is assigned. Now the output at the next clock instant will be determined on the current state. You can also call it, if we say, you can have different methodology. If you call it previous state, the current state or next state. So actually, that's the methodology that how would you interpret this? Okay. Now take an example. If you take some examples, so in this example, we design a counter. So it means when we design a counter, so there are 8 flip-flops, and output of the flip-flop will feedback to some multiplexers, combination circuit, some combination of multiplexers and some combination of adders. So what was in this combination block? Mux plus adder. Now, if we say that we have any kind of circuit, each circuit has some delay. Let's assume if it's a and yet it will also have some delay. Ideally, we spoke of the ideal delay. Now let's assume if we have, let's assume a scenario that we have an AND gate. Let's assume we have a scenario that we have an AND gate. The input is A and B, and the output is C. Now, if input is A and the input is B, A and B, when the output will change at this point instant? Ideally, the output, let's assume the output is C. So ideally the output, if you see the ideal output, so the ideal output will change at this point instant. The ideal output will change at this point instant. But the problem is that this AND gate has some delay. So we need some delay. So in this case, we can say that serial will look like this. Serial will look like this. And there is, the signal will not change drastically from a logical 0 to logical 1 at the same instant. There will be some slope. So there will be some slope like here, like this, some slope. And there will also some delay. So actually the output will change here after some delay, and it will there slope and the output change. So this is actually called as the delay of the adder. And this delay is a function of various parameters. It also depends on which technology you are using. You are using 32 nanometer technology or 65 nanometer technology. What is the size of the transistor? What is the size of the input gates? It's a 2 input AND gates or 3 input AND gate. What is the type of the gate? So all of these parameters. No, delay is like, delay is there. Whether it is less or more, it's there. Let's assume if I ask any question, what is your name? So actually when I asked your name, you answered me after some time. So you also have some delay. You processed my question and you gave me an answer after some time. So it is your delay. And actually this delay is actually not in on the order. You gave me you gave me an answer in 1 second. So it's your delay. So in these delays, so this delay can be reduced using various factors, and we will study this in more and more detail. We can increase the size of the transistor. We can use the larger size transistor. Okay. And a lot of techniques are used to reduce the delay. We will study this in more and more detail later. But conceptually speaking, each gate will have some delay. Okay. Okay. So we will study this in more detail. Okay. But conceptually there will be some delay. Now, if we say that now we have a clock. And if you look at this clock, now we are only looking at only D type flip-flop. Let's assume we have a D type flip-flop. D type flip-flop, we have an input D, input clock, and output Q. If you only look at one at the level of one at a level of D flip-flop, so it means that now we will have, okay, I will cross it. I will draw it here. Just so now this is your clock, and there is active edge of the clock. It's a positive edge trigger or negative edge trigger? Positive edge trigger. Okay. So there is one window that is called as setup and hold time window. There is one window that is called as the setup and hold time window. Okay. Now what is the functionality of the flip-flop? At the rising edge of the clock, the functionality of the flip-flop is that at the rising edge of the clock, Q is assigned the value of D. Am I right? Okay. Now this D must be stable within some window. That is called as setup and hold time window. Now I will draw this window in red. So this is called as window. This window is called as setup and hold time window. Now what is the setup time? This is called as on the left hand side. Can you see on the left hand side? So if you so now there are two type of windows, setup and hold time. So this time in the blue color TSU, this is called as T setup time. Now I am drawing another color TH. What does TH stand for? Hold time. Now we will have some input D. Okay, so now this is your input D. So this is the whole window is called as setup hold time window, and as a specification the input D must be stable within this window, otherwise you may not determine the output. Now if we say that this D should be, now this D should be either a logical, now if we have something like this, now let's assume it's changing from here to here, so what will be the output of the flip-flop? In this case the output will be 1. Now let's assume we have D like this, a D here. What will be the output of a flip-flop? 0. Now if we have a D like this and D is changing during this setup hold time window, if D is changing during this setup hold time window, the output will be unpredictable. No, there is some window. Why this window is required? Because this flip-flop by itself has some delay. And if you look at the flip-flop, this flip-flop has some cross-coupled gates. And for this cross-coupled gate to be stable, it needs some delay. These gates have some delay. So actually, what is your requirement? Your D input must be stable during setup. So in this case, you can confirmly predict the output that the output will be a logical 1 in this particular case, because you see it is stable. Now if you see at the second example, logic 1, for the second one, this one, what will be the output? Logic 0. Now in the third case, D. Now if you look at here, D is stable or changing? Changing. So in this case, output is unpredictable. It can either be a logical 1 or logical, but you cannot predict it, because you have violated the setup and hold time constraints. The setup and hold. Let's assume a car is coming and you predict, now there is some constraint. Now you can cross the road. It depends on the speed of the car and your speed. If the speed of the car is very high and your speed is very low, it's more probable that the car will hit you. So it means there are also some constraints there. Similarly, if you want, being as a designer, you must ensure that this condition must hold. Okay, agree or not? Okay, now if we look at this window, how? Okay, now if you look at any combinational circuit, can you look at the combinational circuit? At this combinational circuit. For this combinational circuit, I will draw it again on the next slide. So now let's assume we have a combinational circuit and we will have different type of delay. We have different type of delay. So if you talk in terms of delay, so now it's your output that is called as ST. This being feedback to some combinational circuit. This input is actually input some D, and actually this is your Q, and now you have clock, and now this is your XT, that is your input. Okay, now this combinational circuit may also have some delay. I call this delay as T combinational circuit. The combination. And this flip-flop has some internal delay. What is the name of that delay? That need to be setup time and then hold time. Okay, and this combination will have some delay. It depends upon the number of gates in the combination circuit. Adder will have a different delay. Multiplexer will have a different delay. And let's assume if you use an inverter, it will also have some delay. Let's assume if you remember in the clock divider, we only use one inverter. And for inverter has much less delay than comparator. If you have more complex combinational circuit in this thing, the delay will be more. We have simplified circuit, the delay will be less. It also depends on the critical path of the combinational circuit. If the critical path is long, the delay will be more. If the critical path is short, the delay will be less. It also depends on the size of the gates. If we have the same technology and we have a 2-input AND gate and 3-input AND gate with the same transistor sizes. So 3-input AND gate will have more delay or 2-input AND gate? 3-input AND gate will have more delay. Okay. So now we have a clock. Here we have a clock. And let's assume that we have this rising edge of the clock. So for this rising edge of the clock, we already studied that we need some setup time. And then hold time. And during this window, these should be stable. These should be stable. Agreed? Yes, yes. Okay. Now, if you look at here, the output Q is being fed back to the combinational circuit. So it means that when this output is stable, it is now being fed into the combinational circuit. In this case, the combinational circuit will also have some delay. Agreed? So it means that this combinational circuit will have some delay. I am drawing this in another thing. So this is, let's assume, T combinational circuit. And this T combinational circuit, the worst case delay. Now, the worst case delay of the combinational circuit must arrive before which time? Next what? Next. No. Next setup time. Because this T should be stable. Now, this is the setup and hold time. So if you look at the period, what should be the period? Now, if you look at this period, now this is the period. Can you see this? Let's assume this is the clock period. T clock period. How we can calculate the clock period?
Transition time जो भी है.
नहीं, to T period should be greater. Great T. No. TH. Called C combination plus T setup, and you will also have some margins. Margin, actually, you also have to make one. If you don't put a margin, and actually, even if you fabricate two different devices, both are the same AND gate, both have the same characteristics, the behavior of two AND gates will be different because of the imperfection in the manufacturing process. Let's assume I'm saying that if I'm assuming that I have a paint, I want to paint on the wall, and I am using a very perfect machine. Will the thickness of the paint will be same at this point and at this point? No. Similarly, if you want to fabricate transistors, and the transistor is on the range of nanometer, so will you perfectly fabricate two transistors? There will be some imperfection in the manufacturing. When there will be imperfection in the manufacturing, two AND gates at different places will have different behavior. Maybe the delay of one AND gate is 1.8 nanosecond, and the same AND gate that is fabricated at this one, maybe it's 1.9 nanosecond. So that's the reason you need to put some margin. And being as a designer, you are not putting that margin, and if it means that if you will violate the functionality. So it actually, so the disk T period should be greater. So if it is the greater than T margin, so actually for this greater, I am replacing this with the equal sign because I have now added a margin. This margin is typically 20%, 10 to 20%. This margin can be 10 to 20%. If you want to be more safe, you can make it 20%. And based on this T period, how you can determine? You can determine the maximum operating frequency. You can determine the maximum operating frequency. So what should be the maximum operating frequency? 1 over T period. So this will be the maximum operating frequency. And this operating frequency, you can like even increase the time period to give more margin. You can, if you say that if the clock is very fast, so your circuit will consume very high power consumption. You can increase the clock period. When you increase the clock period, so there will be less transitions. So your design will have less power consumption. But then it will have more delay. So there is a trade-off between performance and power consumption. If the clock is fast, there will be more transition. Transition from 0 to 1, 1 to 0, more fast. But if the clock is slow, there will be less transitions per unit time. The power consumption. So these are various trade-offs. There are various trade-offs that we will study in more detail. But now as for now, we have studied that how a sequential circuit will look like at a very high level. Okay, and now we have already studied different example. We have studied an example of a clock divider. We have studied an example of a counter, up and down counter. Now, so now these are all details that I already. Now, finite state machine. You may have studied this finite state machine in your digital logic design course. So a digital circuit in general can be subdivided into two parts: combinational part and sequential part. And I also told you what's the combinational part and what's the sequential part. In sequential part is the state is stored actually in flip-flops. So a circuit what is the combinational part? In a combinational part, a circuit whose output is a function of its current inputs only. Whose output is a function of its current input only. But in a sequential part, the output is not only a function of its current input, but also depends on the state. Depends on the state. Now, if we study the up-down counter, if you remember the up-down counter. So let's assume we have an up-down counter. Up and down counter, we already studied this. The value of up is 1 and the value of down is 0. What will be the value of count? No, what will be the value of count? You don't know. It depends on the state of the counter. If the value of count is 5, it will be 6. If the value of count is 9, it will be 10. But it was not the case in the combination circuit. In the combination circuit, the output was only the function of up and down. Now let's assume we have an AND gate, and we have an input up and down. An AND gate. This is an AND gate. What will be the output? 0. For 1 0, the output will be always 0. But for a sequential circuit, the output not only depends on the inputs. What are the inputs? Up and down, but also on the states. And in states, store the value of the count. So if the count is 5, the output will be 6. If count is 25, the output will be 26. So that's the difference between a combination circuit and a sequential circuit. So now what we call the system comprises of different parameters. One is inputs, output, states, and time. How we model time? Clock. So these are the system parameters. So what we model time? We model time as discrete instance. Discrete instance. Rising or falling. And actually they are S trigger. We either have a transition from a logical 0 to a logical 1 or a logical 1 to a logical 0. And at this discrete instance, inputs or output can change. Input or output can change. What is your inputs? Actually, to the input xt. I will explain it later on. And output, that is t. Okay. Now there are two types of FSM, finite state machine. One is the Mealy model and another is a Moore model. Okay. So in synchronous FSM, when state and output transition are synchronized with the clock. If you remember, we studied two types of reset: synchronous reset and asynchronous reset. When synchronized with the clock, the output will change at the active edge of the clock. And in the asynchronous FSM, the output transition can occur at any time when the input changes. Okay. Now, first we will study the Mealy model. We will study the Mealy model. So, in the Mealy model, it comprises of three different blocks. One is the state memory. One is the state memory. State memory. So, this state memory, we have register of n flip-flops. We have register of n flip-flops used to hold the current state of the FSM. So conceptually, we can draw it like this. So now we have a state memory. So now we have a state memory. Yes, these are not one flip-flop, multiple flip-flops. So we have state memory. I am denoting it by M. State memory. It is holding the current state. And this output, this is actually N bits. Okay, so this is actually your ST. This is your state memory. Okay, now next state logic. Next state logic. So now you have another block. We call it NSL. Next state logic. NSL. Next state logic. Now what's written here? Next state logic. It is combination. This next state logic is combinational, which is used to generate the next state, ST plus 1. So it is used to generate the next state, that is ST plus 1, dependent upon the current state. So it means it is a function of the current state. So actually this current state will be feedback to this next state logic. Okay, and input. So there is also some input XT. I will explain this this with an example later on. In the counter example, actually this was the count. The count was feedback to a combinational block, and actually for a very simple counter we have an adder there. Yes. And for the up count counter we have a combination of what? Mux and adder. So this is the next state logic. And now there is the output logic. So if you look at this ST plus 1, now there is an output logic. There is also an output logic. I call it OP, output logic. And this output logic has an output YT. And YT is not only a function of the current state, but also function of the. So this is the block diagram at a very high level block diagram of a Mealy machine. Output be sequential and combination. Both of them are combinations. This is also combination. And this one is also combination. And the state, actually the state memory that is stored in flip-flop, that is the part. And the whole design is now a sequential circuit. The whole design is now a sequential circuit. A combination of some flip-flops and combination circuit is actually a sequential circuit. So can I write it like this? So it means that can I write it like this? Now this ST plus 1. ST plus 1. What is ST plus 1? Next state. Next state is a function of what? ST, current state. XT, that is your input. Similarly, YT, what is Y? Output. is a function of current state and except. This is a very high level. Now I will explain this with an example. Before now, and we also have Moore model. We will have. Okay. Now, if we want to design an FSM, there are some specifications. And these are some design specifications. There are 7 steps. First, you will understand the specification. Specification of what are the system requirement. Then you will have a problem definition using state diagram or state table. Then we will have state minimization. Then we will have state assignment. Then we will determine of the next state and output logic. And then we will have logic minimization. And then we will have design mapping to a given technology or a device. I will explain this one by one. First, we will start with understanding the specification. First, we want to design a system. But before designing this system, we need to understand the specification, and their specification are specified by the user. So now I will explain this with an example. So now let's assume a scenario that we want to design an ATM, auto teller machine. We want to design an auto teller machine. And for this auto teller machine, we have 2 inputs. One is ₹1 and one is ₹2 specification. ₹1, it can only accept 2 coins, ₹1 coin and ₹2 coin. And the output is wend and change. When signal will be asserted when the system will give any product like Coke. Let's assume we have a Coke. In the when machine will give a Coke, and the inputs are ₹1 and ₹2. And change. So now let's assume that the cost of this Coke is ₹3. Coke is ₹3. Now, when ATM will give a Coke, when the user will insert a coin of 1, 1, and 1, and it will give a Coke. Second scenario, 2 and 1, it will give a Coke. And 2 and 2, then when will be 1 and change will be 1. Have you understood the specification? Yeah. The specification is very simple. But now we want to design the system. So if you look at the complete system, so actually there will be some input condition in some sensors. In the ATM, there will be some sensor that will detect whether it is ₹1 coin or ₹2 coin. So we are not going to design the input condition. We are not going to design this system. We are not going to design this system. We are only going to design an FSM. And in FSM, we say that there are 2 inputs, ₹1 and ₹2, and 2 outputs, wend and change. And when ₹1 is 1, it means that the user has inserted a coin of 1. When ₹2 is 1, the user has inserted a coin of 2. And we also further assume that both of these inputs cannot be asserted at the same time. Like 1, 1 is not possible. 1 is not possible. Now this is our assumption. Now if we want to design such a system, Okay, so now these are the specification. I already explained this specification to you. These are the specification. Now the first step, now we have understood the specification. What is the second step? Can you see? Problem definition using state diagram or state table. Now we want to translate this problem or this specification into some kind of flow diagram or state diagram. We call it as a state diagram. Now in any state diagram, in any kind of a state diagram, there are some circles and some arrows. Some circles and some arrows. What does a circle represent? State. What does a arrow represent? A transition from one state to another state. So state, the circle represents a state, and arrow represents a transition from one state to another state. So now let's assume we have 2 states. Now we assume that we have 2 states. S0 and S1. So this S0 and S1, these are two states of the system. Two states of the system. And in any kind of a system, you can have different state: idle, busy, processing. For memory, what can you have state? Read state, write state, idle state. If you want to perform any operation on memory, what are the different possible states? Read or write. Now let's assume if you have an AC. So these are different states: cooling mode, heating mode. Within any one cooling mode, you have different temperatures: low temperature, high temperature. So actually, these are different states, and the states depends on the different on the specification of your. But at a very at the system level, that if you want to represent a state, so you have to define some states. You have to define some states. Now, for what are the states for a car? Stop, stop, low speed, intermediate speed, and high speed. There can be the possible states for a car. So now this circle represents a state. Now arrow represent a transition from one state to another state. Arrow represent a transition from one state to another state. And on the top of this arrow, we have some. Let's assume we have x1, x2, y1, y2, y3. When we studied or FSM, what was xt representing? Inputs. And what does y represent it? Output. Y is your output. So what is the size of the input now in this case? 2 bits. So with this arrow, we have input on the left hand side and output 3 bits on the right hand side. So if we say that now your system is in state S0, your system is in state S0, and if we say that if the input is 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, what does it imply? That the system, let's assume that the system is in state S0 and input x1 is 0, x2 is 1. In this particular case, the system will make a transition from state S0 to S1. And in that particular case, what will be the value of output? Y1 is 1, Y2 is 0, Y3 is 1. I have just defined. Just in arbitrary and FSM. We have an arbitrary FSM, so we say that there are 2 bits input and 3 bit output. For our example that we studied, so we have 2 inputs and 2 output. But for that, it is not x1, x2. That will be rupees 1 and rupees 2. And then when and change. Okay? Now, so it means that let's assume we have a state S2. So what does it imply? Let's assume that the input is 1, 0 and 1 and output is 1, 1, 0. So it means that the system will make a transition from state S1 to S2 when it is 0, 1. Now if you look at in both cases, here also the input is 0, 1 and here the input is 0, 1. But in the first case the output is 1, 0, 1. In the second state the output is 1, 1, 0. So this is the difference between combinational circuit and sequential circuit. Because the output in both of the cases the input is same, but the output is different. Why the output is different? Because in the previous case 0, 1, the previous state was S1. Now in this case the previous state is in the previous case S0, and in this case the previous state is S1. That's the reason. That's the difference between a combinational circuit and a sequential circuit. So now this is all the transitions. This is all the transition that we can make from one state to another state based on the inputs, and based on the input there will be some output. Okay. Now coming back to our real problem. So now you can study this in more detail. Study this in more detail, and then you can. Now, if you want to draw the FSM, if you want to draw the FSM for our vending machine, so now we need to envision some states. We need to envision some state. One state can be an idle state when there is no input. When you restart the system, the system should be initialized to some known state. I call this state as an idle state. So the system will be initialized in this state when there is a reset. Yes, you can call it as 0. Up to you. Ideal state. So in the ideal state, the system is initialized. Why we need a starting state? Let's assume that you have a processor. In a processor, there is also some starting state. If you remember, in embedded system, I told you that when you restart the system, so the program counter is initialized to some known value. Program counter is initialized to some known value because it represents the start of the program. Let's assume you're executing your C or C++ program, and C++ program contains millions and millions lines of code. From which line it will start execution? No. In C program, किधर 0 कहाँ से आएगा? In C there are a lot of functions, F1, F2, F3, F4, maybe you have a lot of functions. अब वो कैसे पता चलेगा कोड कहाँ से स्टार्ट होगा? Execution कहाँ से स्टार्ट होगी? Huh? Yes, execution will start from the main. So actually, there is some starting point. Now let's assume we want to conduct a race of all your class members. So actually, everybody has to start some race at some initial point. It's not possible that one guy is standing at one point and another guy is standing at. They should start the race at the same point. So actually, whenever you want to design a system, you should initialize your system to a known state. So a known state. Let's assume if there is a problem in your computer and it's hanged, what do you typically do? You reset your system. Hardware reset. When it's hardware reset, it's initialized to some known state. Now you have a window and then you can perform any operation. So you need to initialize your system to a known state, and in this particular example, the known state is now an ideal state. It will be initialized to this ideal state. And should we give a cook in this ideal state? No. That's the point. It's very important. Okay, you should not give a cook to this ideal state. Now, and we know now we have 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So now let's assume this is R1, ₹1 and ₹2. These are the inputs, and went and change is your output. How many inputs are there? 2 inputs. How many outputs are there? 2 outputs. Now, if we are in the ideal state, there are 4 possible combinations: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. 1, 0, and 1, 1. So now in the first case, if the input is 0, 0, what should be the output? 0, 0. 0, 0. And on which state it should lie? Either. It should go into the ideal state. So there will be a self edge to the same state. So the state will not change. So now in this case, when we have 0, 0, when will be 0 and output will be. Now let's assume that if the input is 0, 0, 1. R1 ₹1, yes. So it means it will make a transition to some other state. I call this state as S2 for reason. So can we define that S2 is a state? Is a state that shows that now a system has an accumulated sum of ₹2. Either the system you can reach to this state when the user insert ₹1 coin and then ₹1 coin, or the system will reach this state when the user will insert a coin of ₹2. There are 2 possibilities. So now we are studying the first possibility. So the first possibility, from this ideal state to this state S2, it will make a transition to this state 2 when it is 0, 1. It will make a transition 0, 1. So it means that now the user has inserted a coin of ₹2. Should I give a coke? No. What will be the output?
0, 0, 1, 0.
0 0. Why 0? Idle state, it means no input. Initial state, in initial state is not an input in input. Now another combination 0 1. 0 0 has been done. 0 0 has been done. Now 1 0. 1 0. What does it imply? Huh? So we can define another state. What should be the name of that state? S1. S1 is the state. The system has an accumulated sum of 1. So it means that if this is 1 0, what should now be the output?
0 1.
0 1. Why 0 1? 0 0. 0 0. Now the other combination. There are 4 possible combinations for the inputs. 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. And we already said that 1 1 is not. 1 1 is not. This is our assumption. And we want to make the system very simplified. You can have more complex design if you want. Okay. Now you are in state S1. Already state 1. The system is already in an accumulated sum of 1. In this state S1. 0 0. What should happen? Now you are in state S1. 0 0. What does 0 0 imply? So what should happen? Same state. So it means that 0 0 0 0. Then 0 1. क्या होना क्या चाहिए? What should happen?
Output change होना चाहिए.
Output change होना. Very good. Then where should I make a transition? Very good. Very good. Why? Because why you are defining an extra state?
Yes.
You can go directly to the idle state. Okay. So now in this case, you're concentrating. Good. Okay. 0 1. Sum of 1 is already 2 plus 3 is 3. 1 and 0. And if it is 1 0.
When or change 0.
No. 1 0. 1 0. 1 0 means rupees 1 has been inserted. The state is 1. The system has an accumulated sum of 1. User has input of rupees 1 coin. What's the accumulated sum? S2. It should go to S2. It should go to S2. So it will be 1 0. What should be went? 0 0. What about S2? So it's so simple. 0 0 it will go on the same state using the same description. 0 1 0 1. It will go. So 1 0. When will be 1 and? No, it's 0 1. Okay, for 0 1 and for 1 1. So we don't want to make another arrow. I will write it. So for 1 1, so I can use the same arrow. So for the same arrow, if it is 1 1 0, then 1 0. And 1 1 is not possible. So now this is the complete state diagram. So now we have derived this state diagram from the user specification. This is the second step. This is the second step. Now what is the third step? What is the third step?
State minimization.
You can do the yes, followed by that state diagram, but before that step, going to that state minimization, you have to draw a state table.
Yes.
Because from that state table, you can minimize the hardware. Okay, so now we can draw the state table. So this is the state assignment and state transition table. We call it as a state assignment and state transition table. Now if you look at the states, how many states are there? 3 states. How many flip-flops do we need? 2. Why? If we have two flip-flops, it can represent a maximum of 4 states. But there are 3 states, so this can be represented with 2 flip-flops. So can we? It's a very simple. It's very simple. So now we have this current state. Can you see in yellow? Current state inputs rupees 1 and rupees 2. Then next state and the output is when and change. So if you look at here, so now we have S0 represent state S0. So if you say, so if current state is S0, the input is 0, 0, the next state is S0, it is 0, 0. So now we can translate this into the state table. And it's so simple. It's very easy. Now let's assume if I describe this condition like S2, the system has an accumulated sum of rupees 2 and the user now input rupees 1. What will be the next state? S0 and output will be 1, 0. Now we also need to define the unknown state because if you are using 2-bit flip-flop, there will be 4 possible states: S0, S1, S2 and S3. So now we can also include it here. So for whatever reason, now we don't want to initialize this state. For whatever reason, if the system goes to the state S3, it should directly go to which state? Idle. So it means if the input is XX, what does XX means? Don't care. Whatever is the input. If for whatever reason the system goes to state S3, that is an undesirable state. That is an undesirable state. We don't want to enter into that. But if due to an error in the system, if the system goes to state S3, it should not give a vent and it should not give a cook and it should not give a change, and the system will be go to the idle state. So now we have also included this state for completeness, and this is actually this is true for all of the undefined states. For the state that is undefined. Why we have included this S3? Because we want to store this in flip-flops, and flip-flop can be used to represent 4 states. Okay, now this is the state transition table. Now this is state assignment for state assignment. So now we have 4 states: S0, S1, S2 and S3. And I told you that we are using 2 flip-flops. Let's assume flip-flop 1 and flip-flop 0. So we can do some state assignment. So for this 0, it is 0, 0. For S1, 1. For S2, and for S3, 1, 1. So now this is state assignment. So what we can do in the state transition table, we can just replace this S0 with what? 0, 0. S0 0, 0. What about S1? All S1? 0, 1. What about S2? 1, 0. So actually, if you look at here, so this S0 will be replaced with 0, 0. From this table, we will draw the truth table, and from truth table, we will design how many gates will be. Ab samajh aayi baat? Okay. For S2, what will be the coding? 1, 0. So now this is a. Now, can you see this diagram? The same thing, but now in terms of F1, F0, rupees 1 and rupees 2. The same diagram. Now what does this F1 F0 represent? This 0, 0. S0, this represent S0. What about 0, 1? S1. And what about this S2 and S3, so far so on. So now we have drawn the whole truth table. From here, from this truth table, we have now, because in digital logic, everything can be represented in binary. That's the reason we have now this state diagram. And if you look at this, now, if you look at this block diagram at a block level, I told you that now we have some state memory, ST. This ST is actually will go to some output logic, and before this output logic there will be next state logic. And now what is your inputs here? For this input and next state logic, the input is ₹1 and ₹2, and actually this was xt. If you remember, this xt ₹1 and ₹2 will also go to the output logic. And what is the output? Went and change. And this st, actually if you now in this particular example we have 3 states. So 3 states can be used. We need 2 flip-flops, F1 and F1 and F0. We have 2 flip-flops. This flip-flop is feedback to next state logic. So actually this is your st, and now this is st plus 1. So if you look at here, so now F1 and F0. What is F1 and F0? It is st. And what is F1 next? And F0 next? St plus 1. So now here we have F1 and F0, and now here we can have F1 next and F0 next. Now if you look at this output logic is combination. This output logic is combination, and this output logic is a function of, if you look at this output logic, so this output logic is a function of F1, F0, ₹1 and ₹2, and its output is went and change. So can we, if you look at this figure, this is your output logic. Your output logic is a function of, now we have used 2 flip-flops. This is your output logic. Here state memory, and here next state logic, and then this is F1 next and F0 next. And if you look at here, now these are the gate level description of all these things, but you can do it. It's your homework that how we get these numbers, But if you look at the change, when a change will be inserted. Now in this case the change will be 1. The change will be 1 when F1 is 1, F0 is 0, ₹1 is bar, and ₹2 0. Can you see here? There is only one case in which change is 1. Can you see here? Only 1 bit. So change will be 1. So change is 1. When change will be 1? Change is 1 when the current state is S2, or in the input is 0 1. If you look at this S2, so if you talk of this S2, so what will be F1 and what will be F0? S2 1 0. So the change will be 1 when F1 is 1, F0 is 0, and R1 bar R2, because now there is a single one. But if you look at the other condition for wend, how many times wend is changed? 1 2 3. So actually wend there are 3 expressions. This is now an unminimized form. You can also do the logic minimization. You can use Karnaugh maps. So if I ask in exam that do the logic minimization, you have to repeat all of these steps. Now it's up to you that how do you do the logic minimization. You can use Karnaugh maps or you can combine logic expression, and these are the techniques that you already studied in digital logic design course. Actually, so now it's the whole hardware. And now if you look at here, so in this F1 next there will be some AND gates. So if you look at this expression that I use for change. So for change, for this change, what will be the hardware? It's a combination circuit. And AND gate. The output is change. And what is the input? F1. You need another N. Inverter. What is F0? Then R1 and then R2. So if you look at this expression for F1 next, so we need OR gate and some 3 AND gates and some inverters. And you can use this R1 if there is R1 bar, you can just directly use this signal instead of if R1 bar is used multiple times. So you don't need 3 inverters. You just need to use R1 bar. Okay, got my point? So you can also minimize the hardware. So now this is the way that we design the complete hardware. And now this is your homework that you build a complete gate level description of all these. Okay, any question?